Greasy spoons were throwing their lunchtime crowds onto the sidewalk. Everyone was hustling to get out of the cold and back to work, warmed by overcoats, hats, and 3 martini lunches. It was a smart place and a smart play. It gave the kidnapper cover, and it made anyone standing still look mighty conspicuous. People standing still included the newsstand owner hawking the latest copies of Life and Vogue, and the Monday, January 20th, 1947 edition of The Times and its competitors. The kidnapper had probably scoped this spot out several days running, so he'd recognize the owner for genuine. The drunk, panhandling at the mouth of the alley 20 yards down, too old to have served in the Pacific, but that's what his cardboard sign proclaimed. The line seemed to be working for him, if the pile of coins in his hat was any indication. He was a regular, too. The girl in the phone booth, the one in the private school uniform arguing with her mother in that kind of why me whine 15-year-old girls hold a patent on. I want to see the matinee and it's closing this week and Billy invited me. He is not. He would never. He's a gentleman. His dad is vice president at Mavis and Mulgrave. No one to set off the fine-tuned alarm bells wired into the kidnapper's nerves. The man in question was dressed in assorted grays, light gray suit, charcoal overcoat, gunmetal gray pork pie. He had the kind of easy-smiling face you'd hire to play second fiddle in a Seagram's ad. Pleasant and forgettable. That forgettable mug and careful planning were the reasons he hadn't gotten caught, and we were pretty sure he hadn't gotten caught a lot. This was a sample of what was going through my head as I defended fictional Billy to a dead telephone line. I'll come home after the show, I promise. But, Mom, we've already got our tickets. I was thinking he didn't look much like a kidnapper. Then again, they never do. To be fair, I didn't look much like a 15-year-old girl playing hooky, even with the wool skirt and the school jacket and my frizzy red curls pulled into place with plastic barrettes. Up close, I looked every bit my 24 years. Maybe a couple more once you factored in mileage. But through the smeared, breath-fogged glass of the telephone booth, I could pass. Also, I had the wine down pat. No, Mom, I love Billy. I love him. The easy-smiling man tore off a third match, struck it, and lit his smoke. He shook the match out. Then he carefully placed it in the garbage can, dipping ever so slightly to scoop up the paper bag at the top. He took a moment to feel what was inside. 3 stacks of tightly bound bills. Then he was off, moving as fast down Madison Avenue as the post-lunchtime crowd would let him. I was out of the phone booth a moment later, hurrying to keep up, slipping in between the cracks in the masses with ease. I top out at 5'2" in flats, with a narrow frame that makes dress-fitting a pain, but helps when I need to tail a crook. 20 seconds in, and I was only 3 people back. The hope was that I could ride the kidnapper's slipstream all the way to Wyatt Miller. Wyatt had been snatched from his pram in Central Park 3 days earlier. His mother had been distracted giving directions to a German tourist, and when she turned back, she found her 14-month-old darling gone. In his place was a typewritten note. We have Wyatt. Do not call the police. We have people on the force. We will know. Go home and await further instructions. Gloria Miller ran back to her Upper West Side apartment and showed the note to her husband, who did the reasonable thing. He picked up the phone and asked the operator to connect him with the cops. An overly gruff voice answered. 20th Precinct. This is Simon Miller. My son's been kidnapped. My wife was in Central Park and... The voice cut him off. What did we tell you, Mr. Miller? We told you not to call the police. We have people everywhere. This is your only warning if you want to see your son again. Then the voice instructed the Millers to gather $10,000 in ransom money. The voice went so far as to instruct them on the best way to do it, naming bank accounts and telling them to cash in this or that stock. The kidnapper really did seem to know everything. What he didn't know was that Mrs. Miller played a weekly bridge game with a group of wives, one of whose sister's best friend had had something similar happen to her daughter a year before. Back when it happened, it had made for juicy conversation between bids or rubbers or whatever the lingo is. I'm a poker girl myself. Naturally, the chatter had expanded to include what each card player would have done if such a thing happened to them. Someone had suggested that a private